BBA Human Resource Management, Semester 3, Bangalore North University, Session 25. Unit 3, Induction and Training, Identification of Training Needs. In the previous class, we discussed benefits of training program to the company as well as to the employees. In today's session, we'll discuss the training needs assessment process. It is into 6 steps. The first thing is, firstly, training means. Training is covering the gap that exists between the desired and the actual behavior. What is the behavior expected from the employee? And what is the actual performance of the employee? When there is a deviation between expected performance and actual performance, there is a need for the training program. That is the first and foremost need. When there is a gap, that gap has to be bridged. And to bridge the gap between the desired performance and the actual performance, we need training. That is the first requirement of a training program. The gap may arise, either it may be because of an individual, the gap may be at the level of individual, or maybe at the team level, or even at the organizational level. This gap need to be identified and that gap need to be bridged. To understand the training that need to be provided to the employees, we need to first understand the job expectation, industry, culture, and so many other issues. The training needs. The first need of identifying the training need is to establish clear expectations. First, we need to understand what is required by the employee. Only when you have a clarity about what is required by the employee, then you can plan a proper training program so that we can get that particular work done through the employees. So first and foremost need of identifying the training needs is to establish a clear expectation. We need to know exactly what is expected by the employees. When we know what is expected, we can compare what is their actual performance, and then we can understand the gap, and then we can build a training program in order to bridge the gap between the desired and the actual performance. For that, we need to evaluate the performance, identify the training needs. We should know what is job expectations, job description, and also we need to ensure the performance requirements. These are the essential things so that we can identify the training needs. So the first thing is to establish a clear expectation. We should know what is expected by the employee and by the job. Second thing is to measure the performance. We need to have a proper measuring tool in order to measure the performance of the employee qualitatively as well as quantitatively. Measuring performance, it establishes an objective and also it creates an opportunity to discuss where there is an unsatisfactory performance, and then it can identify the training need that is required in order to overcome that particular unsatisfactory performance. First thing here is that we should have a measuring tool to measure what is the performance of the employee. And that measure should make us understand where there is a performance which is below the expected level, and it gives us a reference, and it will give us an opportunity to understand where there is a unsatisfactory performance. When you know when the performance is not up to the mark, there we can identify and document that particular issue and then come out with such a training program so that it will make the employee overcome that particular performance, unsatisfactory performance. So, identification of training needs, associated training plan should be incorporated. Why we should identify? We should identify the training need so that we can have a training plan which will make the employee fulfill the requirement. The first important thing is we need to establish a clear expectations, then is to measure the performance. When you measure the performance, you understand where there is the unsatisfactory performance. Once you can identify that, you can evaluate that particular performance and come out with such a training program so that we can get the best work from the employee. Third is solicit input on training needs. The individuals who are working, the individuals who are doing the work have a particularly relevant perspective on training needs. The best source of information on short-term training needs. We can take the inputs from the employees. We can prepare a questionnaire, circulate among the employees, take their inputs about what kind of a training is required to them to make their performance better. Surveying employees either individually or through the groups or in any other form, and you can obtain the input. And along with the employees, even the managers need to be asked about what kind of a training requirements are essential for the employees. You need to have an overall view. You should take the input or information from employees of all the levels, including the management, staff, peers. Everyone should contribute the inputs towards the training needs, and they need to highlight the training gap. It encourages conversations about progress on training and development, expectations of both employers and the employees. So the solicit input should be taken from all the people in the organization. Employees, managers, workers of different levels need to contribute and tell what kind of a training is required for them to give a better performance. Based on the input taken, a proper training program need to be established, and then that training program will give a good outcome as employees give their inputs about their requirements on the training needs. Next is support career development. The training program should not give only a short term benefit, it should also give a long term benefit. It should focus on the career development. We need to ask employees to rate their satisfaction about the training and development programs, and we should ask them about what are the policies and programs that are there in the organizations which can be improved, provide the required resources and support in order to help the employees, and take their reviews, identify their career interest, and inputs should be taken even by the employees about the overall organizational development plan. The training program should be in such a way that even when there is a further enhancement of the job, enrichment of the job, the employee should be in a position to perform that. There should be a better career development to the employees. And then it is conduct an organizational resource analysis. There should be an overall analysis of the human resource in the organization, especially their roles, requirements, organizational strategies, objectives, position, or job specific skills that they require, resource requirement. You, the organization should come out with the round table conference, discuss the organizational analysis, and identify what kind of a training is required in order to cover all the additional issues and opportunities that are going to happen in the near future. So there should be a requirement to study the overall organizational resource analysis, including the human resource. We need to understand the roles and requirements of the human resource in the organization. What are the skills? Sometimes we need to reskill them, upskill them. So, what kind of a training is required? There should be an overall analysis of it. There should be a conferences held, and then the issue should be discussed so that the training program that is identified to be implemented in the organization should be in such a way that it should fulfill the organizational requirement not only for the present and even for the future. And then comes your last training need is establishing a coaching and mentoring program. Coaching and mentoring is an organizational best practice which results in high performance. Mentors can support employee personal and career development and be a point of identifying the training gaps. Employees need to be coached and employees need to be mentored under the managers or supervisors. The mentoring system should be in such a way that the employee should open up and tell what are the drawbacks they have or what kind of a training need they require and how they can improve themselves. A proper coaching and the mentoring program need to be provided in order to make sure that you come out with the good training need assessment. So these are the identification of training needs. First, we need to establish a clear expectations, then measure the performance, take the input, solicit the input on training needs from the employees and all the members of the organization. There should be a proper support career development and overall organizational resource analysis need to be taken up, and there should be a coaching and a mentoring program.